are going to talk to you about all English and Missouri students to let them know how English is spoken around the world and how people think about English today and how people can give us some ideas on the studies that we have teaching online. Anyway, we are going to hear some experiences and also some way of thinking on this language, you know, one of the most commercial languages spoken around the world. Okay, so Mr. Word?
Yes.
Yeah.
English is the #1 language in the world. It's the international language used by the United Nations and all the major countries. The G10 countries all speak English. All their meetings are in English. So it is very vital for any person in the world today who want to exceed outside of their own local community to learn to speak and understand English at a working level. They should write the language, speak the language, and but in all essence communicate the language on paper and on computer effectively, because most of the business decisions in the Western world, the language is the English language. The region, your region, the South American, Latin American region, is primarily Spanish. And I find a lot of people during my travels are reluctant to take English as a basic language, which I think they should.
Okay. I would like to know, or we like to know, how easy or how difficult it is to learn English. Because, well, we have the experience about many people who say English is not easy to learn. But do you think it's easy to learn English, to learn how to speak, or it has a lot of difficulty for Latin American people or for people around the world?
It is not the easiest language to learn because you've got many words with the same spelling that means different things in a sentence. Like L-I-V-E. It's live and it's live. I live certain place and you use live bait. Same word, spelled the same way, but it means differently. So the difficulty is perceived by that sort of persona that you're not saying the right thing, usually, that you don't believe that you're saying the right thing. However, the basic fundamental of English is very precise. So once you learn the structure, the 26 alphabet of the letter and how it's formulated, it becomes very easy. I believe that in 6 weeks, any student or any person, 2 hours a day learning, can understand the English to a working level quite successfully.
But do you think that one person who, for example, we have a lot of Latin students, you know, do they have to live in the country to experiment the language, or maybe they can learn them, for example, online, or they have just a friend, or it's important, you know, they will have to go out just to practice and learn the language well?
Your system allows English to be taught and learned quite easily and quite successfully. The adaptation is just to do the work. And online is very easy, but online with 2 or 4 people in a small group is better than just one person, because English is like me learning Spanish, understanding Spanish. English, you got to convey, communicate. I've got to speak with you like now, the same thing. So online and one person, maybe a little bit more, not as much, a little bit more difficult, but it's quite easy to learn English in a classroom or online the way you've got it set up. That should work very well.
Okay. I get another question. What does the word teaching mean to you?
Teaching conveys knowledge that you have personal information about, that you convey in a factual manner to someone else with the precept of them understanding what you're telling them. Teaching is imparting a specific skill and knowledge that you have to somebody else or to a third person. That's teaching.
Okay. So now, for example, I say people learn how to speak the language, but they say, no, I just speak, what do you think about people who say, I can't speak, but I can write. I can't speak, but I can read well. Or maybe it's necessary that you have to mix up all these skills, you know, reading, speaking, reading, and writing. Or maybe there are people who just speak but they don't write. Or how do you interpret all these, you know, skills for some of the students or some people who, or do you think it's necessary if I speak, I have to write? If I speak, I have to read well, or maybe there are people who learn those skills independently.
That's a very good question, and I'll do my best to break it down. In the fact that to know the language is paramount. To know it, you have to read about it. It's like your history. You read about your history, so you know your history. But you cannot convey that history unless you're ready. So A, you must be able to read the English language. You then should be able to speak it efficiently, and then you should be able to convey it in written form that someone that is not in your vicinity or neighborhood can understand what you're saying away from you. So you can go on the internet and you can send an email or a request, or you can buy something clearly. So if you didn't read it and if you cannot speak it, you cannot convey it. So you've got to do all three. You've got to do the writing, the reading, and the speaking.
Do you think okay, we were talking about those skills, reading, listening, speaking, and writing. You know, so we need, in other words, we need all of them, you know, to manage the language.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it doesn't come overnight, all three of them. The first thing to try to do is to, like your YouTube, you were saying, just to have a basic understanding. It's like a child. Take a little step, longer step, then you start running. You cannot run before you walk, and you cannot walk before you crawl. So English is based on the same concept of learning the basics that you have to offer in your classes. Then from there you go at different levels. It's a stage. So it's a journey. You go one step, then you build up. But the good thing is with the English language, once you learn it, you'll never forget it. it's got a basic structure that's ingrained. It's a precise, like science, like a language. And once you learn it, you'll never forget it. That's the beauty.
Okay. How do how do you evaluate a good English speaker? You say, oh, he's a good English speaker because he has something special, or a person who speaks, for example, sound, or maybe you know that this person is a good speaker because he can understand easily, he can speak fast, or he can speak slowly, or this person writes correctly, or that is a good English speaker.
Good English person is like any other good Spanish, French, Russian, Chinese person, is the ease of understanding when they communicate to you. So you tell me something and it doesn't matter how fancy it sounds or how technical it sounds, if I don't understand it, it's meaningless. So a good English speaking person is the simplicity to convey something. I say run, and you understand that it means run. Okay, get up and run. I say walk. So it's how you convey to someone to their level of understanding. So that is a good English teacher, or any teacher, or any person that speaks a language, is to speak in the clarity and the certainty that the other person listening, or the audience listening, can get the message.
Okay. If some of the students who are now listening to you, what do they think that they can picture or they can analyze when they say, or when they have listened to you and they say, wow, English is easy, but does English have difficult parts?
Lots of English has a lot of nuances. I say double meaning to words, but in time you pick them up quite easy. It's just normal. It's just normal to do that. It's the best way to do for your students or your potential students is for them to want to do it. If they want to do it, you have the tools and the mechanism and the wherewithal and the classroom setting for them to do it. They have to want to do it. If they want to do it, your method will, in easily 6 months, they can speak, write English to a general level of understanding. I firmly believe that.
Okay, and how can you advise students today to improve English? They want to go forward, but what is your advice for all those students to tell them, okay, this is a good language, go on, and don't feel tired, don't feel that you can't do it. No, you have to do it because you're giving a good advice first.
I would say outside of your classroom activities and your online activities, they too can go online and communicate with other English-speaking people in the world through the internet, through video conferencing, and that is the way. They speak to other English-speaking people in English-speaking parts of the world, and their lots will accommodate and assist them and help them. So your basic structure is very, very helpful to achieve that purpose.
Okay. And one more question. Today we know that there are many people who want to, they want to go on and they want to say, wow, this is the best option to study. Now, if right now you have different languages like Spanish, French, English, what do you think it'll be the best option. You know, when you have an open mind, when you plan to travel, when you plan to go around the world, what is the language that you could choose right now?
Other than English?
Yeah.
I would choose Spanish.
Yeah?
Yes.
Why?
It's an up-and-coming region of the world. I think the economy of the Latin Americans and the Spanish-speaking countries are up and coming. But you cannot do Spanish on its own to do international business. You must study English to do that, because all the legal documents of international transactions are usually written in English or translated back to English, because most of the international lawmakers are London-based. That's where the laws current is implemented. So to be an international person, and if you're Spanish, then I would say English. If you're English, to me, I would love to, and I do my best to speak Spanish.
Okay, Spanish is a good language.
It's a good very good language.
Okay. One more question.
I've got lots of time. That's okay. Lots of time.
Okay. Now, what do you think about people who say that they speak fast or slow? You know, to make you understand when you're transmitting a message, is it better to give this message, you know, fast or slowly, or maybe it's normal, depending on the speed of the speaker?
There are certain people. I do not speak very slow. I speak a little bit fast, I know that, but that's my style.
Yeah.
And it's up to you, the listener, to listen to my message. It's not for me to slow down. I don't know at what level of interpretation you're capable of. Maybe I speak too slowly and your brain wave works too fast. You do not understand me. So the messenger speak at his own level, and it's up to you to be adaptable, to be adaptable, that you can understand fast, understand slow, understand. The Queen's English is very monotone. It's monotonous. It's just straight, level, no deflection. And if you have a chance to watch a session in the House of Lords in London, where that is spoken, you'll see that the voice don't go up, the voice don't go down, it just go flat. That is very boring, very boring. You have to have the reflection, high pitch, low pitch, just like Spanish.
Yeah.
See? So there's no right, there's no wrong. It just is. So in time you will develop your own style, and that's your style. People accept it or they don't.
Okay. Well, anyway, for us, it's been a really pleasure to have one person with, you know, he has been very open-minded. Also, he has explained us good ways how you as a Latin students to learn English, ideas, experiences from a person who knows a lot about this language. Anyway, I really appreciate all of you who have been analyzing and listening to us. But anyway, we're going to listen to one word that he's going to say his advice, and at the same time, Mr. Borton, he will tell you that maybe in a very short time he will be with us again, because it's possible that he will travel to Colombia to visit us.
I would like that. If you want me there, I'll be down there in a flat.
Okay. Do you want to say anything today to finish with this interview?
I would just say thank you for listening, and I hope I give you a little understanding, a basic background of what is necessary for you to be an open person, a broad person with the potential of being an international person. An international person doesn't mean that you have to leave your country to go to another country. It's just that you have to convey to other people in other countries your ideas and your thoughts, because everything in life is a thought. First the thought, then the action, then the result. So if you're thinking of studying English, then I say you make the decision, you do the work, then you have the result. The best thing to do is you decide if this is what you want to do. It's very important for you to be open-minded and exposed to other opportunities in the world, because the world now, for the past 15 years, through the internet system, is universal. You can speak to anyone, anywhere in the world, but the basic language that is spoken through Google or anywhere, unless you interpret it, is the English language. So it's a very vital language. I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you find some basic ideas from what I've said to you today. Thank you.